meeting procedures so everybody's familiar with what's going on. All persons in attendance at Planning Commission Board of Adjustment meetings are expected to comply with the following meeting procedure. Thank you in advance for helping make this a manageable meeting. Copies of agenda item materials are available for public viewing on the table located at the back of the meeting room. These materials are not to leave the table so that others in attendance may view them also. Please turn phones to vibrate or off during the meeting and conduct any sidebar conversations outside the meeting room. Interruption or other interference with the orderly conduct of the PCBOA meeting will not be allowed. Defamatory or abusive remarks are always out of order. Disruptive persons will be removed from the meeting. The chair may terminate a speaker's privilege of address if, after being called to order, the speaker persists in improper conduct or remarks. Written material concerning agenda items must be submitted to the Environmental Services Department by 3:30 p.m. on the Wednesday immediately prior to the meeting date. Written materials will not be accepted after this deadline or at the meeting because the PCBOA will not have had sufficient time to review them prior to the meeting. Such materials must state the agenda item for which it is being submitted and the name and address of the submitting party. Planning Commission business is conducted first, followed by Board of Adjustment business. The chair will call the meeting to order and explain the meeting procedure. The chair will read each agenda item into the record and ask the applicants to come forward to the presenter's table, state his, her, their names and addresses for the record, and explain his, her, or their request. The PCBOA will then discuss the agenda item with the applicant. The chair will then ask for public comment on the agenda item. To facilitate an orderly, efficient meeting, there is a 3-minute speaking time limit per speaker per agenda item unless the chair allows the speaker additional time. The chair may terminate the speaker's privilege of address if, after being called to order, the speaker persists in improper conduct or remarks. When the chair recognizes the speaker, he or she may approach the audience podium and microphone, state his or her full name and address for the record, and write such on the speaker log, and then share his or her comments. The audience podium microphone must be used by the recognized speaker because the meeting is recorded. A member of the public may not donate his or her speaking time to another speaker. A speaker should state his or her comments and address the issue, not the applicant's. All comments are to be directed toward the PCBOA. Please do not repeat comments already made by previous speakers. The chair reserves the right to ask a group of similar comments to appoint a spokesperson. If written comments have been submitted to the PCBOA, please do not read them aloud during the meeting as they have already been a part of the record, and copies thereof have been given to the PCBOA. After everyone wanting to speak on an agenda item has done so, the chair will close the public comment period on the agenda item. No further public comment will be taken after this point. The chair will give the applicant an opportunity to address issues raised during public comment. The PCBOA will then continue its discussion on the agenda item, and the chair will entertain a motion on it. The PCBOA may make a motion to pass, deny, or table the item. Once a motion is made and seconded, the PCBOA will develop findings of fact for conditional use permit and variance applications and then vote on the motion. Once a vote is taken on an agenda item, the PCBOA will move on to the next agenda item. Meetings commence at 6 p.m. and continue until all agenda items have been heard or until 10 p.m. No new agenda items shall be considered after 9:45 p.m. The PCBOA may, at its discretion, continue an item that is on the floor at 10 p.m. Any remaining agenda items shall be continued to another date or time, preferably the immediately following Tuesday at 6 p.m., and no further public notice will be provided for such a meeting continuation. The PCBOA, through the chair, may modify these procedures prior to a meeting or an agenda item. All right, first thing we have for the Planning Commission is the approval of minutes from the September 22nd meeting. Any comments?
This is Timothy. I'll move to approve the September 22nd Planning Commission meeting minutes.
Okay, this is Veronica. I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the September 22nd meeting. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy. I vote aye.
Ken, how do you vote?
This is Ken, I vote aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica.
Veronica, I vote aye.
And this is Larry. I also vote aye. Meeting minutes have passed. There is no old or new business in the Planning Commission that I'm aware of. So we will move on to the Board of Adjustment. Also looking for the approval of minutes for the September 22nd meeting of the Board of Adjustment.
This is Ken, so moved.
This is Veronica, I second.
Again, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the Board of Adjustment from the September 22nd meeting. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy, I vote aye.
Ken?
This is Ken, I vote aye.
Mike?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica?
Veronica, I vote aye.
And Larry, I also vote aye. The minutes of the September 22nd meeting have passed. All right, we do have one item of old business. We have a variance application 39V25 by Raguse and Austin Foss, Government Lot 7, Section 15, Township 141, Range 32, Akeley Township on 11th Crow Wing Lake, a recreational developable lake, Parcel 0115019000. Applicants are requesting variances from Part 1, Section 901 of the Shoreline Management Ordinance from the requirements that prohibits intensive vegetation clearing within the shore impact zone and the requirement that the ground layer and understory of native vegetation be preserved in the SIZ, so that a non-vegetated beach area can be created. Part 2, Article 5, and Sections 506, 701, and 702 of the Shoreline Management Ordinance. From the requirements to prohibit more than one guest cottage being located on the property, that guest cottages cannot be located within the 100-foot ordinary high watermark structure setback, that a guest cottage cannot exceed 15 feet in height, and to put 2 non-conforming structures whose use has been discontinued to new proposed uses as guest cottages. Part 3, Section 701 and 702 of the SMO, from the requirements to prohibit non-conforming structures whose uses have been discontinued from being maintained and put to new uses, and Part 4, Section 701 and 2 of the SMO, from the requirements to prohibit alteration of a non-conforming structure whose use has been discontinued by placing a deck on the structure. Name and address for the record, please.
Austin Foss, 300 NP Avenue North, Fargo, North Dakota.
Very good, thank you. And I know I just read through this, but give us a brief description of
Yes.
the variance, please.
First off, I want to thank the commission for your flexibility in this and for allowing us to at least pursue other options. We have found that through the planning department and working with Eric that we do think that doing the variance is probably our best option moving forward. This was an old resort. Used to be the Pixie Point Resort. It had been in business since like 1965, I believe. These buildings, I think, were built in the mid to late 90s. So that would be 5 guest cabins, and then they had 1 lodge that the owners used to reside in, and then used to be a community room. We're looking to create that lodge into the main structure, and after our talks last month, we're looking to have 2 of the guest cabins remain, bulldozing 2 of them, and then 1 to be a sauna. That is the update.
Okay, very good, thank you. Any immediate questions from the board?
I have some thoughts, but I'll wait for after the public.
Okay. Seeing none, I'll open for public comment. Seeing no public comment, we will go back to the board.
Okay, this is Ken. Just for, from a fact standpoint, you're asking to add a deck to the house, main lodge. You're asking for 2 cabins, which are units B and D on your drawing. You're asking to remove more vegetation in the recreational area, and you want to retain one additional cabin to be used as a sauna. That's the core part of it.
Yeah, and after talks with last month, I don't think we'll really pursue the vegetation portion of it.
Okay. But I just want to know what was in the application.
Yep.
Also, Eric, if I understand, their lot is at least a duplex size over 80,000 square feet, if I recall.
Lot area is over duplex, but buildable area doesn't meet single lot
Yeah,
requirements.
that was my next, but they couldn't subdivide it because of the buildable area, so they're constrained by that, and of course constrained by the fact that it had been discontinued for more than a year, which puts constraints on what they can do. This is kind of complex, but I'm gonna offer some thoughts to my colleagues here. When I look at the cabins, they add up to about 1,000 square feet. We would normally allow a 700 square foot one, and both of them are outside of the shore impact zone. And looking at all these other constraints, I'm amenable to the idea of letting them keep cabins B and D, but removing E. So the residual then would be the main lodge and 2 cabins. So in essence, what I would be proposing, and I'm open to whatever your thoughts are, that if you take the drawing we received, which is stamped October 1st, and if you moved item E up under proposed to be demolished, that would consist of the details of what I would be willing to offer as a compromise. So vegetation removal, no, you would be restricted to a standard 20 by 15 residential rec area, and you would be allowed to add the deck to the home. So that's my thinking. After lots of considerations, I don't know how the rest of you feel. So, and/or have questions for him, but given our agenda for the night, I'd like to start that as a proposal, and I could make the appropriate motion and so on if you want. I don't know how the rest of you.
This is Larry. I've got a question on F yet showing up as the garage. Is that going to be maintained as a garage?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. So currently, it also includes the showers with the cesspools that will be demolished.
Okay.
And it'll just be a garage.
Garage,
Yep,
okay.
yep,
That's what he shows on the drawing, yes.
Correct, yep,
Okay.
just wanted to verify that.
yep.
And this is Veronica speaking, just for clarification. I believe cabin B also is outside of the shore impact zone, 57 feet, is that correct? Yeah, so that's a plus as well.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
So cabin B, retaining cabin B as one of the guest cottages, it is outside of the shore impact zone, so that is a plus in my eyes as well.
This is Tim. I agree with that proposal you made there, Ken. It's definitely a unique piece of property, so, and, as you both stated, Veronica and you, that they're both outside, the B and D are outside the shore impact zone.
This is Mike. B is over 15 feet in height too, but
By half a foot or something, so it's not very much, right?
2'2".
It's very minor, but that's a good point. I mean, they are proposing, if they follow what I'm suggesting, of removing 8 of the structures that exist on that property. It's a substantial reduction over what was at one time an operating resort.
Yeah, and this is Veronica speaking. During the lot views, the entire property was pretty well vegetated with screening, tall trees and such. So I think, if we even had aerial footage up, we'd note that.
So I know, if Larry, or I guess I can ask, you'd be amenable to that, altering that if we propose that?
Yep.
Okay, can I make a motion?
Go for it, Ken.
Yes, Ken, as long as in that motion, if you're still, since the applicant also said that they've pretty much scratched the vegetation removal.
Yeah, and he just mentioned that
okay,
too.
perfect.
Yeah, so let me try if this is a way to do it. I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the application on 39V25 with the two conditions that no vegetation, additional vegetation removal, and a restriction of 20 by 15 for a residential property for the shoreline, and that cabin E is removed. The other two things of a deck on the home and two cabins would be retained in the motion. Does that make sense? Okay. And that I should add that the motion would be that the drawing that is titled June 17th of 2025, received in the office on October 1st of 2025, that drawing and all the actions listed on it are part of the variance, with the change that item E be moved up under proposed demolition buildings, which brings that to 8 then. That's the best way I can describe what we're proposing.
Yep, I think that's pretty
Okay.
clear.
So that's my motion.
That works. Have you got the finding of facts?
I need a second for, don't you need a second first? No? Okay. Findings of fact, resort was discontinued, so this requires a variance. Removing 8 structures isn't a substantial improvement, and the 2 cabins are not too much over the standard size of 700 square feet, and they are both outside the shore impact zone. Therefore, I believe this is in harmony with the general purposes intent of official controls. The second one is the property owner proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner, not permitted by an official control, would be yes. The parcel exceeds by double, or it's 2x the size of a standard 40,000 square foot lot. It would allow, and how would I say it? Allowing 2 guest cabins is not a significant impact to density, and being outside the shore impact zone makes it reasonable. Is a need for a variance due to circumstances due to the property and not created by the current owner. It's not subdividable based on its contour, and the cabins are less than 100 feet due to topography, and the fact that it cannot be subdivided, all add to circumstances unique to the property and not created by the owners. 4, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? The area was a resort in the past. It is much reduced by 8 structures, and there are no close neighbors, so that would be yes. And I will adopt for item 5 the notes from staff report.
This is Veronica speaking. Before we have a second, could I suggest maybe a type of condition that the buildings that are proposed to be demolished have a deadline? Or are we open to that?
Yeah, we should have a deadline, yes.
Yeah.
Pick one.
Do you have plans for that yet?
We would like to demo them by the end of the year, but I don't know if will work for winter. It would be nice to have at least a year, would be great.
Right, because I don't foresee it's seasonal use anyway. You're not going to be using that during this winter anyhow.
Right.
I was going to suggest, a year from today, or even in like,
September 1st of 2026, at
Perfect.
the end of summer.
Yes.
Okay.
This is Timothy. I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept this variance as stated by Ken, with the approved demolition of the buildings and then retaining what is also listed. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy. I vote aye.
Ken?
This is Ken, I vote aye.
Mike?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica?
This is Veronica. I vote aye.
This is Larry. I also vote aye. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Variance application 46V25 by R.P. Meyer Lake Property LLC, part of Government Lot 2, Section 18, Township 144, Range 35, Lake Hattie Township on Big LaSalle Lake, a recreational development lake, parcels 18.18.01400 and 18.18.01500. Applicant is requesting a variance from sections 502.2 and 702 of the Shoreline Management Ordinance to replace a non-conforming dwelling located in the shore impact zone with a larger dwelling that will increase the structure's ordinary high watermark setback nonconformity and section 901 of the SMO for the proposed intensive vegetation clearing in the shore impact zone. Name and address for the record, please.
And, excuse me, Andy Olson, Olson Construction, here on behalf of the R&P Meyer family.
And a brief description of your variance, please.
The application is to build a larger structure and tear down a legal non-conforming structure on the northern part of the lot.
Okay. This is Larry. I guess my first question on this lot is, if the existing building is being demolished, to me, from lot views, it looked to me like it was just a whole lot easier to build back in there and not have to duck around the building being at the front of the lot, thus excluding the back half of the lot. Can you give me a really good reason why that's not being looked at?
Yeah, and I apologize, it didn't seem like we had enough time to really go through a lot of those reasons when you all were on site. So there is a spring just in between the existing cabin and the garage that we want to stay away from. And also, as you know, that the lot is small and that big hill precludes a lot of options for septic. And where the tank is currently is kind of the only area. And if we were to build the existing cabin there wouldn't be enough room for that septic tank. And I heard somebody propose that it go to the south of the new structure. That's where the well would be. We don't really want to put it next to the well, and also the driveway would be there. It's just very limited on options for putting a septic tank and well. So by having the structure there, that allows to do a new, because they need 2 septic tanks for the system that they have. So it allows room for 2 tanks and then pump straight uphill to the only area on the lot that will have available for treatment. If we would have moved the tank all the way to the south of the building, there'd be an additional 100 feet to pump, and then go up the hill, which isn't ideal when we look at long-term maintenance of an SSTS and freezing, et cetera.
This is Veronica speaking. When you say there's a spring there, you're just meaning it's a spring-fed well, is that correct?
No, there's a
So
spring. There's a spring.
There's 2 things, because you have spring-fed well on the document here as well.
That is what they have had for a water source, is they dug a spring-fed well there. But there is a spring,
There's
that
another
whole.
natural spring, okay.
Yep, that whole northern part of the lot, in between the garage, it gets wet. And so we want to stay away from that. We don't want to dig into that well, into that spring. And that's pretty common for the lake. There are lots of springs throughout the lake.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to clarify, because we talked about an artisan well and the spring itself, so I wanted to make sure.
Yep.
I was understanding that. Thank you.
Yep.
This is Mike, is that why you didn't want to add on to the existing cabin?
The existing cabin cannot be added on to easily. From the outside, it might look okay, but it really isn't. The foundation would need to be totally demolished.
I will now open for public comment. Seeing no public comment, I will close public comment.
Mr. Chair, this is Veronica. I have some questions for Eric, if you don't mind.
Nope, go ahead.
Eric, can you tell me what the options are, the current options to build by permit are for the applicant's authorized agent?
Well, one would be to replace that existing structure with one that would be moved out of the shore impact zone, and then it could be enlarged as long as other setbacks are met. That's the really only other viable option due to that slope at the rear of the lot not allowing construction to take place at the 100-foot setback.
Right, so the current structure is, what did we determine, or the ordinary high water mark?
I believe it's about 35, the existing. Yep, I believe it's about 35 if I'm not mistaken.
So if you move it 15 feet back to get out of the shore impact zone, they could build by permit, maybe not the size house that you're looking at, that you're
Correct.
proposing, but a much larger house could be built
Yep, and we staked it out. We would still have to dig into the hill.
for this particular size. But if you reduce the size, you could still have something new built. Is that correct?
Possibly, but not in its place. We would still have to be down where it is, where I have proposed it. And so then we would not be able to make that 50-foot. That 50-foot setback is right in the middle of the driveway. And so the back of the structure would still go into that hill, and we would still dig into the hill. And that's what we initially discussed doing. As I said, this family's been looking to build for several years. And we had staked out several options, and we initially looked at building back 50 feet. And no matter what size we did, we'd be digging into that hill, and that's not something that they wanted to do.
Correct.
Because of the water that comes off of that hill, having any type of foundation into the hill, right in the middle of that ravine, if you remember, water mitigation is going to be important for the long-term sustainability of the structure. And so if we can avoid being in the hill with any window wells or any type of foundation, it'll be better for the structure long-term. Plus the additional cost of, $50,000 to $100,000 depending on the size, just for excavation and concrete.
Eric, this is Veronica. Can you please, you were gonna get the measuring tool and the maps out. Can you, right, thank you.
What would you like measured?
So if you could just measure, show me where the 50-foot mark would be to start the building. Okay, and then where it would go before they would have to have any excavation, what our distance is.
Right about there, yep.
90 feet, okay. So,
So is that 90 feet from the 50-foot mark, or is that?
That's 90 feet total.
Okay,
Total
90
from the
total.
shoreline.
Okay, all right.
And so that's the widest part of the available buildable area.
This is Mike, but the overall house is 40 feet? You're with the concrete on the outside?
Correct, yeah, I think the structure was 36.
So then it would kind of fit in that spot.
without the garage.
Not at the 50 feet, it would not. We would have to, on the southern part of it, no matter what, we'd be inside of 50 feet. On the northern part of the lot, it's much wider, as we could see there, but nothing would fit inside of 50 feet unless we dig into the hill as you move south.
This is Ken. The ravine that comes down, and I think part of the house is gonna be in front of it. Does water come down that ravine?
It sure does, yep.
So how are
Quite
you gonna
heavily.
handle that if your house is sitting right in front of it?
Yeah, the farther in front of it we can be, the better off. The closer, the more space we have between the ravine and the house, the easier it'll be to mitigate, for sure. But we'll still have to have, a 4-foot wall above grade to prevent any future issues.
Okay. Just seems it's an awful large structure and platform area. I mean, somewhere in the 3,600 or 3,500, 3,600 square feet, and moving closer to the lake, just,
Yeah.
I guess from my standpoint, yeah, the house is big, and that may be okay, but I really wish there was a way you could find to move it back to 50-foot, the 50-foot setback, which is what Eric is saying, from the standpoint, you can build something, build kind of what you want, but it needs to be back to 50 feet.
Yep, if we went back to 50 feet, the trees that are up on that hill are the mature Norway pine, the red pine, and those are the ones that they wanted to save. And also, you know, it's just cost prohibitive, you know,
A whole bunch of them already.
What's up? What was that?
Given where you want to build, you're going to tear down that whole patch of trees that
The
are
spruce
there.
trees that their
Yeah.
grandpa planted, yes, yep.
This is Tim. Eric, could you put that map back up? From about where that septic tank was, you know where it is? Approximately there to
Yep.
the property line, straight south. So you can move that septic tank 100 feet towards that property line and be 50 feet from the well. So
From what well? The well
the
hasn't,
septic tank can be moved.
the well hasn't been drilled yet.
It says proposed on your map.
yes, yep.
At that property line, right where he stopped right now.
Correct.
And so that's 170 feet. So the tank can be as close as 50 feet to that well.
I agree. The issue that we run into is with physics. We'd have to pump the entire length of the lot and then up to the sewage treatment area. And so when you're pumping horizontally with no grade, you have a difficult time getting the sewage treatment to flow back to the tank after it's been pumped. And so you run into issues with freezing the longer that you try to pump, the longer distance you try to pump without grade. And everything's very flat on the bottom down there. So if we had the tank all the way on the southern part of the property,
You wouldn't need it all the way. We know that.
right,
And
but
you don't need that big of a house. So, in my opinion, I'm not in favor of it going where you're proposing. It either has to go up where that house, the existing is, or I'm not gonna be voting for it.
okay, yeah, and so we can rework things, and I would love further guidance from the committee so I can help the property owners understand what their options are.
I think we're all in agreement of the 50-foot
So,
or impact zone.
so you want it to be dug into the hill?
No, you can make a smaller house. I don't care if you build into the hill too a little bit, but you don't need to if you don't want to.
This is Veronica speaking. That's kind of where I was leading, that by permit from the Environmental Services Office, a larger house can be built if it's in the shore, if it's past the shore impact zone at that 50-foot measurement that we were discussing. And you've got about 45 feet there to work with, depth-wise, before you run into the bluff. And yes, this size house is not going to fit there. We all agree with that. It's a little bit too large for this area because you are working with the minimal area and we don't want to go into the bluff as much, you know, too much.
Yep.
But a larger house can be built by permit in that vicinity and meet all the setbacks that, for septic and such. If there was a larger house that you wanted to build, then you would probably most likely have to come back with a different variance application with different sizes and a different proposal as for excavation purposes. But I'm in agreement with my colleagues and the staff report that this size house and its location is not the proper fit for this piece of property. That's the only guidance that we can give you at this time because that's what we're proposed in front of us. So
Yeah,
at this
and-
time, I'm
and-
in the same state as they are.
And I
denying.
think the piece that, you know, the Meyers initially drafted this variance application themselves. And when they submitted it, or submitted it through me, it had two options listed on the variance application. And the guidance we got back, and that was back in August, was that that was too confusing. And so they wanted just one option presented.
Right?
And so I think that's the piece that the property owner comes back and says, well, we tried to do two different options so that we could
Sure.
gain clarification.
Sure.
And that's why, you know, we're here in end of October and not end of
Right.
September.
Sure, and I understand and that is very much true. I worked at Environmental Services Office, so we did like to have one proposal at that time. You can't
Yeah.
have multiple, because we can't have, well, this is option A, B, or C. We need one
Sure.
set, one thing to,
Yep.
be put in front of us.
And had I had known that you wanted to see that, I would have staked out what the building would be, or a smaller building would be, up on the northern part, and you would see why it is particularly challenging to build up there.
Sure. I understand that the
So-
size factor for the applicants is part of the reason.
Yes, they have about 30 people that come up every year, and so that's why they're building something like this. That's why they put it into an LLC for all of their family members.
Sure. When you reach out to Environmental Services Office, though, just the main question is ask, what are my options at this point? Specifically, what can I build by permit, And then that way you can see, well, okay, if I want to build this much more, then go this route. But those are the big questions to ask.
Yes, they will, in my opinion, no matter what size they build, they'll need a variance application if they do not want to dig into the hill, based on the stakes that I have put out and measured out there over the last 2-3 years. So if the committee is amenable to digging into the hill with any size structure, but that is something that, in my opinion, is more impactful to the environment than to build on the flat. But if the committee is amenable to that, I will advise the property owner that that is an option that we can pursue.
Well, there's 5 questions that we have to answer affirmatively in order to approve the application. Number 3 is the hardest one, is the need for the variance due to circumstances unique to the property and not created by the current owner. Yours is somewhat unique because you have a bluff. But then the other part, created by the owner, because that's a want, where they want it built and the size, that's the difficult part.
I hear you.
Because you do have options that something can be built in a different area, so.
Yes, for significantly more money, correct.
If he has to dig into the hill, it's probably gonna require a variance for that.
Yeah.
So you'd have to come back with a house plan layout and
Correct.
show us how much had to be.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Should,
I think, because when I met with Aaron, when I met with Aaron from Environmental Services on site, we looked at building into the hill 50 feet. And we marked it out and then said, yeah, I think you can do that without a variance application. And then he called me back and said the amount of material that would be moved would require a variance for that also. So I think regardless, we'd be looking at a variance application to move material from the hill.
Most likely, that is correct.
should we table this then, or deny it and have them come back with what makes sense?
What would be what would facilitate the easiest process for the homeowner? This isn't my project, but I want to make this easier for the homeowner to understand and to provide information to the committee. They're the customer here.
What do you think, Eric? Is it better to deny it? If you gotta come back on another variance, you're gonna have to pay another variance fee, right? I think,
The property owner would, yes.
yeah. Whereas if they gets tabled and then comes back,
Easiest for us to administer is take action on the application that's before you, and then they
Okay.
can reapply.
now, and then let them work the rest, okay.
Okay, I think we're in agreement. Does somebody want to make a motion?
This is Timothy. I'll make a motion to deny this application 46-V-25 and accept the staff's findings.
This is Veronica, I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to deny variance application 46V25. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Tim. I vote aye.
Ken, how do you vote?
Can I vote aye?
Mike?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica?
This is Veronica, I vote aye.
And this is Larry. I also vote aye. All All right, variance application 47V25 by Roger and Jennifer Hall, Lot 9, Block 1, Oak Ridge Estates, Section 4, Township 139, Range 34, Hubbard Township on Long Lake, a recreational development lake, parcel 1450 00900. Applicants are requesting a variance from Section 702 of the Shoreline Management Ordinance for proposed addition to a non-conforming dwelling located in the shore impact zone. Name and address for the record, please.
Jenny Hall, 17980 Christensen Bay Lane, Park Rapids.
Roger Hall. Our home address is 28923 310th Street, Neola, Iowa.
You just bring that mic, there you go.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Just a brief description of your variance, please, your request.
We just basically want to build a mess hall because we have a huge family. We don't rent these out at all. We have 24 grandchildren. A lot of them are in college and stuff. They're big, and the cabin by the lake is where Papa and Grandma stay, and after 6 years, my back hurts from schlepping crockpots up to the hill where the family cabin is. And I just said, let's see if we can build a space to put a big hearth table. So that's what we're asking.
Okay.
We wouldn't change the architecture at all. We found this dilapidated resort. I fell in love with the architecture. It was an architect, a mid-century modern architect out of Chicago that designed these cabins. They're stunning. I wouldn't ever want to change it. I just would like a little bit more room because we live in there for 6 months and we have nonstop kids up there.
Okay,
They all come to our place.
very good, thank you. And my understanding is it is basically just a screened-in porch?
Well, we're going to, because of the red squirrels, go ahead and have windows.
Okay,
So we don't have to take on that damage.
okay,
When you say screen, you're basically building walls and putting windows in,
Right,
right?
right. It'll
That
be
would
3
open
walls and
closed.
it will actually, I don't know if you guys got this picture, but it actually kind of mimics the cabin on the hill. It looks the same, the rooftop's the same, everything's the same. So it doesn't really change the architecture of the resort.
Okay. The wooden steps that you were proposing on the front, they made the 50-foot setback from the lake?
Well, I don't know if we can just walk right in or if we need a step there. I don't want to add any more of concrete on the front or anything, so that would just be, how do we get in there? Maybe it's just one step like the pump house has.
Well, we have to prove, based on what you give us for documentation, it shows that you're 57 feet, and the steps would be, I just want to ensure that's not encroaching closer than the 50. And are you putting in like maybe electric baseboard heat or anything in the thing?
Oh, I would hope to have electric baseboard heat. Yeah, there'd be electricity, no plumbing.
Okay, no other plumbing, no?
No.
Okay.
Just a big room to feed a crowd. Did you want to see what the builder drew up? It just looks like the rest of the...
This is Veronica speaking. I just wanted to clarify that the main reason for this variance is because it's a non-conforming
Yeah, okay.
structure, that
is
one
what they're
corner
adding
is
right
48
there.
feet from the shore impact zone, or from the ordinary high water mark, so it's in the shore impact zone just on that northwest corner. So this addition that they're proposing will be outside of that shore impact zone. I believe it's still gonna they'll be able to meet that with the step.
at this time I'd like to open for public comment. Seeing no public comment, we'll close public comment.
If they can do it without a step, I'd actually rather not have a step to just make it look clean. If you can just, like, go right in the door.
Again, the only question is if you get inside the shore impact zone or not, and I believe you've got room to do whatever you need to there, just to stay outside that 50-foot mark.
Okay.
So, in the interest of, we've got a lot to do tonight, I think we're on the same page on this one. I'd like to
Move forward.
move forward, yes.
Yeah, this is Veronica. I make a motion to approve the application as presented, 47-V-25, and adopt the staff's findings of facts.
This is Ken, I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept this variance. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy, I vote aye.
Ken?
This is Ken, I vote aye.
Mike?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica?
Veronica, I vote aye.
And this is Larry, I also vote aye. Thank you very much. All right, variance application 48V-25 by Michael Brooks, Lot 6, Block 1, rearrangement of Mindiana, Section 36, Township 141, Range 34, Lake Emma Township on Little Sand Lake, a recreational development lake, Parcel 16.43.00600. Applicant is requesting a variance from Section 507.2 of the Shoreline Management Ordinance to have more than one stairway, sidewalk, or lift to provide access between the lake and the dwelling unit. Name and address for the record, please.
Mike Brooks, 22174 Firelight Drive.
Very good, thank you. And just a brief description of your variance, please.
Due to age and medical reasons, we'd like to put a inclined elevator in next to the stairwell.
Okay. Any questions from the board quickly? Seeing none, I will open for public comment. Seeing no public comment, I will close public comment.
This is Veronica speaking, just for supporting statements. The request is to be able to add that mechanized lift as a second means of accessing the lake on the lot. It has a bluff on its shoreline. Only a couple trees and one shrub will need to be removed. It's going to go right alongside of the existing stairway, which minimizes the aesthetic impact from the lake. And I am in favor of the application.
This is Larry. I also believe that this is pretty straightforward. We've approved several of these this past year, so I see no issues with this one at all.
The only thing I see that moving forward is that we have to mark yes affirmatively on 1 through 4 of the staff report.
Yep, they're all blank, they need to be checked.
So at this time, if you're ready for a motion, I can go ahead.
Yes, please.
Okay, this is Veronica. I make the motion to approve the application 48-V-25 as submitted per site plan, and I accept the staff's findings of facts, marking 1 through 4 affirmative for yes, and number 5 remains the same.
This is Ken, I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept application 48V-25 by Michael Brooks. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy, I vote aye.
Ken?
This is Ken, I vote aye.
Mike?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica?
This is Veronica, I vote aye.
And this is Larry. I also vote aye. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, variance application 49-V-25 by Joseph and Rebecca Penning, part of Government Lot 1, Section 25, Township 141, Range 34, Lake Emma Township on Gilmore Lake, a recreational development lake, Parcel 16.25.00510. Applicants are requesting a variance from Section 507.4 of the Shoreline Management Ordinance from the 4-foot maximum fence height allowed within the 100-foot ordinary high water structure setback. Name and address for the record, please.
Rebecca Penning, 23833 Gilmore Trail, Park Rapids.
And Joseph Penning, same address.
Very good, thank you. And a brief description of your variance application, please.
We have built a fence that is 8 feet tall on the south of our property line, and we are requesting that we be able to continue the fence within the 100-foot ordinary foot watermark. at an 8-foot height in order to provide privacy and safety to our family, specifically our 2 young children. With a situation with our neighbor next door, a harassment restraining order against him, we feel this additional length and height of fence is necessary.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
This is Veronica, just for clarification, this 8-foot fence is going to stop at the 34-foot ordinary high water mark where we were at during lot views, correct?
Yeah, it's gonna
Right.
continue roughly 56 feet, yep,
Okay.
from the existing 8-foot tall fence.
Correct.
And this is Ken, to comment, having walked to the neighbor's property and looked, it would appear that this would have absolutely no impact on their sight line to seeing the lake. The rise in the topography is such that you're looking at the hill, you'll see the fence, but you couldn't see the lake even without the fence.
I agree. Thank you, Ken, for doing that while we were out there.
At this time, I'll open for public comment. Seeing none, I will close public comment.
This is Veronica. I also wanted to note that during our lot views, the area within that 100-foot ordinary high water mark setback was also heavily wooded. There was lots of trees and lots of vegetation and everything, so.
This is Larry. I will make a motion to accept this variance and accept staff's findings of facts.
This is Ken, I'll second then.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept this variance. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy, I vote aye.
Ken?
This is Ken, I vote aye.
Mike?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica?
Veronica, I vote aye.
And Larry, I also vote aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, variance application 50-V-25 by Eagle Bay Resort Association, part of government lots 5 and 6, section 15, township 141, range 35, Ergo Township on Eagle Lake, a recreational development lake, parcel 0215000310. Applicant is requesting an after-the-fact variance to amend variance 31-V-21 and from section 701 of the Shoreline Management Ordinance for enlargement of a structure devoted to a non-conforming use. Name and address for the record, please.
Phil Scott, 8634 Vista Ridge Lane Northwest, Byron, Minnesota, 55920.
Very good, thank you. And a brief description of your variance, please.
We, I guess we're asking, requesting that this cabin be accepted as is. There are some shoreline maintenance ordinance violations with it. After construction, the cabin has been completed. It was finished in June of 2022. And we're just asking that it be adopted as is so that if we sell the cabin, there won't be a later alteration or anybody else down the road has to come before this process.
Okay.
This is Veronica speaking. I have a couple questions. So when you first brought up the first variance application, 31V21, how many bedrooms were in the cabin?
There were 2 bedrooms.
Okay, and how many bedrooms do you have now in the cabin?
There are 2 bedrooms. It's a 3-bedroom septic, but it was on the original variance that the 3rd bedroom would not be utilized until after Eagle Bay makes some alterations to their septic system.
Okay, so the septic currently has room potential, if it gets, that way fixed, then you can still have 3 then? 3 bedrooms?
Right.
Okay.
But we would have to make some other alterations because you can't get downstairs. There's 2 bedrooms upstairs.
Right, and downstairs, it appeared there's gonna be 2 bedrooms downstairs as well,
No, there's
Just one?
There'll be one,
and then more living space.
right, just like the game room or whatever and washer. There's a washer and dryer upstairs, so we would take that washer and dryer out, and the closet that harbors that washer and dryer, we would put a spiral staircase down to the basement, and that would be the connection access. We do have a storm cellar down there that stays locked separate from the private area.
For compliance purposes, on that other cabin that you own across the way, did it ever get completed underneath at the bottom, the lower level?
No,
Has it
hasn't.
ever been inspected by environmental services yet to check for compliance?
I have no idea that it hasn't been touched. There's been nothing done to it, so.
Okay, thanks. Just was asking that. Appreciate that. Thank you.
And it was kind of the same deal. I mean, when we put the variance through for that, we did it as for future
Possibilities.
folks,
Okay.
right?
Okay, thank you. No further questions?
I'm sorry, did I understand that one of the bedrooms in the basement has now become a laundry room? Is that what you're proposing?
No,
The residual will still be 4 bedrooms in the house then?
there will, on cabin 6, which is what this variance is for,
Yeah.
it will never be more than 3 bedrooms. Right now, it's a 2-bedroom. And if Eagle Bay gets to where they can add more bedrooms to their drain field capacity, because they're only like a 4,000 gallons per day limit, and it's a 7,800 gallon per day approved drain field. If they figure out how to get more cabins added, then cabin 6 will become a 3-bedroom, but not until that time. It will just stay a 2-bedroom.
Veronica, you checked out, there are bedrooms downstairs now?
There were definitely walls showing that there's potential for more rooms, whether it's a game room, 1 bedroom for sure, and a possible bathroom, and then whether it's a game room or other living space. That is correct.
Okay.
The framing downstairs supports the upper deck of the cabin.
Yeah.
So that's all it is. It's, yeah, and the exterior walls are drywall finished to comply with county code. But the interior walls are not drywalled.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open for public comment. Seeing no public comment, I will close public comment.
This is Ken. Is it reasonable for us to think that all of these minor variations in size, if they were proposed in the original application, that we probably would have approved them? Therefore, it would be reasonable for us to approve this variance? Does that make sense?
To my knowledge, I think we're still within the perimeter of the original variance roof line. We didn't add, like when we did the first variance back in 2021, we had an exterior perimeter of the roof line, and we're still within that perimeter. I just wasn't aware of shoreline maintenance ordinances that you couldn't have a landing more than 32 square feet, that you couldn't have a double-deck platform, that you couldn't have an overhang over a porch. Now that I have since read those ordinances, that's why I asked that we want to get approved on this cabin, so if we sell it, the buyers have a clear slate to where they don't have any future fears.
Okay, and as a fact, this is 270 feet from the ordinary high water mark, so it's set back basically almost second tier. It is second tier, 270, I think.
Correct. Mr. Chair, this is Veronica. I have questions for Eric. May I do so?
Yes.
Thank you. Eric, would there be a possibility or maybe a need for a condition, or would it be possible that a condition be placed on this application, since it's an after-the-fact situation and we've had similar situations with the other cabin across the way, that the bedrooms on the lower level cannot be completed until the septic is updated? Or is that not applicable at this time? Because of the after-the-fact part, that's my questioning.
Yeah, I guess it's a reasonable potential condition.
I might just state that I think the original septic permit was a 3-bedroom. We gave the courtesy to the president of the homeowners association at that time that we would not finish the 3rd bedroom, but I think it's already approved as a 3-bedroom septic. But we have chosen not to finish the third bedroom because they gave another bedroom to cabin 14 in Eagle Bay that was built at the same time cabin 6 was. So they added another bedroom to a different cabin, even though our variance was submitted first.
Veronica, your point is that the original permit application had 3 bedrooms in it.
Yeah, my thought was just that if the original permit application only had 2 bedrooms instead of 3 or 4, was just my concern. I just didn't want to come back to an after the fact again, a couple of years down the road, that we've got now 4 bedrooms in there instead of, or however many number of bedrooms.
What the staff report says that the permit stated that the unit had 3 bedrooms.
Correct.
And if the permit was issued, even though the complex area only allows them 2, they actually do have permits to have 3 bedrooms, right? If,
The septic system, the tank, when that was installed, was sized for 3 bedrooms. There's nothing that says you can't oversize your septic
yeah,
tank.
okay. Mayor, do you want a motion?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion that we accept the after-the-fact variance application. Come on, what we got, 50-V-25, and accept the staff's findings of fact.
This is Larry, I second that motion. We have a motion and a second to accept the after-the-fact variance, 50V25. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy, I vote aye.
Ken?
This is Ken, I vote aye.
Mike?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica?
This is Veronica, I vote aye.
And this is Larry, I also vote aye. Thank you very much. All right, variance application 51V25 by Thomas and Valerie Horsager. Lot 3, Block E, First Edition to Pine Haven Beach, Section 17, Township 139, Range 34, Hubbard Township on Long Lake, a recreational development lake, parcel 14.38.42900. Applicants are requesting variances from Section 801 of the Shoreline Management Ordinance and Article 5, Section 1 of the Subsurface Sewage Treatment System. Ordinance to deviate from the 10-foot septic tank and 20-foot drain field setbacks required from a dwelling. Name and address, please.
Hi, Thomas Horsager, 11545 Avery Drive.
Very good. And a brief description of your variance, please.
Yeah, our request is dealing with septic system setback issues that were recently discovered as part of building permit activity late this summer. This condition has existed for nearly 30 years. And unfortunately, were not identified during variance activities in 2009 when the house was approved to be attached to an existing garage. Our proposed change is to convert the existing second-story storage area above our garage into an office and bathroom. And this proposed change is not increasing the area or the size of the building because it is a smaller lot, as I think we discussed during our visit. The other, I guess, important fact, we believe this request meets findings of fact. It's in harmony with the ordinance's intent. It involves reasonable use of the property as we're not increasing the size of the structure whatsoever. It stems from unique site constraints as our lot is quite small, and it won't change the neighborhood character, and it's not driven by economics. We fully support the staff's detailed summary of events and would like to kindly thank them for a detailed report and explanation, so thank you for that. And for those reasons, we respectfully request and ask for your approval of this variance. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. This time I'll open for public comment. Seeing none, I will close public comment. Any questions from the board?
No, this is Timothy, just making a point that there is no other place to really put it to meet the setback. It's in a place that it needs to be. You ready for a motion?
I am.
This is Timothy. I will make the motion to approve 51-V-25 and accept the staff's findings.
This is Ken, I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept, get on the right page here, application 51-V-25. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy. I vote aye.
Ken?
This is Ken, I vote aye.
Mike?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica?
Veronica, I vote aye.
And this is Larry. I also vote aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Variance application 52-V-25 by Jordan and Taylor Pangrak. I hope I didn't butcher that too bad, I'm sorry. Part of the east one half of the southwest quarter, section 12, township 140, range 32, White Oak Township on Williams Lake, a recreational development lake, parcels 2812-01710 and 2840-00100. Applicants are requesting a variance from section 902 of the Shoreline Management Ordinance for grading and a steep slope in excess of permittable volume. Name and address for the record, please.
Jordan Pangrak, 20318 Frostbite Road, Akeley.
Taylor Pangrak, 20318 Frostbite Road, Akeley, Minnesota.
Very good, thank you. And a brief description of the variance you're requesting.
So we're requesting a variance so that we can add on to our current existing house. Right now, we have an issue, like similar to what the gentleman talked to earlier about drainage around the house. We would like to add on behind the lake setback, and we're running into not bluff but steep slope. So there are some areas that have steep slope where we'd like to add on. It's very minor. It's not something that can be built around. Then there's other areas behind the house where it's not really a factor. So with our buildable area, I think we're looking for additional 8 feet of house and then the ability to clear out and put a retaining wall around the house so that we can maintain that drainage.
Okay, very good. Open for public comment at this time. Seeing none, I will close public comment. Board, any questions?
Yeah, this is Ken. If I ever understand the staff report, there's an open variance from 2009. Do we have to void that as part of approving this, or is because it's not acted on, it's no longer valid?
It's up to the board. You could place a condition on approval of the current application to say that if this variance request is acted on, that the prior variance wouldn't be able to be acted on.
Okay.
This is Larry. Do you need to still use some of that old variance to raise that grade a little bit with some of the dirt you're digging out?
Can you rephrase that?
The old variance, is my understanding, was to do something with the driveway and stuff, right?
It was to allow a driveway to be placed within the OHW driveway setback.
Okay, but that's already there and all done and.
It was
It is not currently. Sorry, there was also another variance to add a garage that driveway would have serviced. So, no, that driveway was never put in. We would really not do anything with that. That becomes front yard space.
Yeah, the 2009 one had a driveway coming down around the bottom, and the garage is now the area where they want to cut out. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but.
So we're basically building the house where that garage was approved to go, but we're not putting in the driveway anymore because it's not a garage. The garage would probably go on the other
And
side,
you're putting the garage up on the left-hand side.
south side.
I can't tell from drawing north.
In this
Yeah,
drawing on
south-
the screen, you'll be where that
southwest side.
septic
You
is.
put the garage on the southwest side, and, but you want to expand the house in the area where the original garage was planned,
Correct.
and you need to dig out the, 160-some cubic yards?
Yep.
Okay.
This is Veronica speaking, just for some supporting statements. The areas where the additions to the home are proposed are reasonable, given the layout and locations of the house, and the excavation site is beyond the 100-foot setback. And I think the condition that if this variance is acted upon, then that 2009 variance becomes null and void, just kind of helps clean it up. Because you don't need it.
I have one question on that. Did that talk about moving the grade? I think it did, moving dirt into that, where septic is now?
No, that was a separate piece that was done. There was,
Sorry.
on some of the old county reporting, on the records, they had done a wetland study there. If you guys recall driving in where there's a big dip going up the ditch, so they had already, the previous owners, from what I could see, had already done a wetland study, found out that there wasn't a wetland. It was okay to take the excavation, export material, move it over and fill up and level up that front area, which is out of the setback and kind of not a question in my mind, I guess, unless it is in yours.
That's really fine.
Okay, this is Veronica, then I'll make a motion to approve the application as presented in 52-V-25 and adopt the staff's findings of facts with the condition that if the variance is acted upon, then the 2009 variance becomes null and void.
This is Ken, I'll second the motion.
Very good. We have a motion and a second to accept this variance. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy, I vote aye.
Ken?
This is Ken, I vote aye.
Mike?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica?
This is Veronica, I vote aye.
And this is Larry. I also vote aye. Thank you very much.
We appreciate the extra room. We're gonna need it.
Congratulations.
Yes. Variance application 55-V-25, Oakgard Properties LLC, north one half, the south one quarter, the northeast one quarter, the southeast one quarter, section 4, township 143, range 32, Lakeport Township, parcel 1904-.02140. Applicant is requesting a variance from section 4, subdivision A1B2 and section 4, subsection A1 and B5 of the subdivision ordinance to deviate from the 2 1/4 acre minimum lot size exclusive of public road right-of-way and the requirement that no more than 4 lots per quarter section of land can front the side of a public road. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Chad Opegard. The address is 39345 County Road 45 in LaPorte.
Very good, and a brief explanation of your variance, please.
Yeah, I appreciate, I think you'd met with my dad. I live in Denver, so I wasn't able to make it, but I flew back for this. We are looking, he has a 5-acre lot. We're looking at dividing it into 2 separate lots. One for personal, private use, obviously residential, and then the other where he would be able to sell trailers. And I understand that when I spoke with, I believe it was Demi, she had mentioned that you can only have 4 lots per section of that property. I'm requesting that we could do 5. And then also, I did have Murray surveying from Bemidji come out and surveyed it. I know we need to have a minimum of 2.25 acres on each, and I believe it was at 2.22 acres. So yeah, that's what we're looking at doing.
Very good, thank you. At this time, I'll open for public comment. Seeing none, I will close public comment. This is Larry. Now, I know Eric and your dad talked that really this probably isn't necessary. Did your dad explain that to you, or did you get clear on that?
He did afterwards,
Okay.
after the fact, so I feel like I may have. But here's the thing, with the state of Minnesota, so I have a dealership in Colorado and I have a current one here in Minnesota. The reason we're going through this is they're currently selling where our office is in Walker, Minnesota. So we're gonna be homeless soon. It's my brother-in-law that owns the building, and, you know, due to a divorce, they're selling it. So, we need to find a different location, and for the dealer board for the state of Minnesota requires that you have a separate lot from your home with a separate address to sell trailers.
Okay.
So that's, even though I know it doesn't have to be zone commercial, I found that out, even though I'd spoke to, not here, but like everybody at the dealer association and everything, and they said yes. I did call them after the fact. They said that I just have to have, I think they told me a form stating it or whatever, that you don't do commercial, but it still needs to be a separate address. So that's what I'm looking at, continuing with it.
Okay, very good. Any questions from the board? I would entertain a motion.
This is Timothy. I'll move to approve the application. 55-V-25 and accept the staff's findings.
Did we skip over the other one?
We did.
Lost me.
This is Veronica. I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept variance application 55-V-25. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy. I vote aye.
Ken?
This is Ken, I vote aye.
Mike?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica?
This is Veronica. I vote aye.
And this is Larry. I also vote aye. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Yep. Okay, I am sorry, I missed one.
Yeah, I was sitting there looking at this stuff for
My
the previous
bad.
one, and I'm thinking, well, this doesn't make sense.
My bad,
And
my
I
bad.
looked at the drawing.
Quite all right.
That's up in the right place here. Okay. All right, variance application 53-V-25 by Jeff and Jamie Barnett, part of Government Lot 3 and 4, Section 9, Township 139, Range 34, Hubbard Township, on Long Lake, a recreational development lake. Parcel 140901-520. Applicants are requesting a variance from Section 502.2 of the Shoreland Management Ordinance for a proposed new dwelling to be located within the 100-foot ordinary high watermark setback. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, it's Jeff Barnett, and my address is 14255 Circle Pines Drive in PR.
Okay. And a brief description of the variance you're applying for, please.
Sure, thank you so much to all of you. So we purchased this land in 2020 and built a fully conforming structure on a portion of the roughly 9-acre lot. At the time we did it, our contractor, and she's great, but made a critical error, which is she said that the existing structure on the property was grandfathered in indefinitely. And so even though we have the intention to build a second cabin in the future, we did nothing about it at the time because we thought we had all the time in the world. This summer, in chatting with a neighbor who had come in to visit with, I think with Eric and Cal and others, came back and reported to us, hey, I think that your grandfather clause is expired. And my jaw dropped and hit the floor, and I went into the county the next day and figured out that it turns out there's a very critical aspect of the application at the time, the building permit, which was that the existing structure was found to be uninhabitable. And so the grandfather clause, or whatever that's technically called, expires after a year. And we did not know that, and so the minute that we discovered that that was the case, we began this process of asking for a variance for the structure that we were always intending to build. And I'll just mention that if I understand the regulations correctly, had we applied at that time, by 2021, we would still have a valid permit today and would be able to build the structure, if I understand the rules correctly. So unfortunately, we just had a terrible miscommunication, and we believe that the structure we're building is otherwise very well situated and suited for where we want to place it on the property.
Thank you.
This is Veronica speaking. I have a question. In 2020, when you purchased the house, that cabin was inhabitable as well.
Well, it was uninhabitable in the sense that a tree had fallen on a portion of the roof, so the roof would have to be repaired. But it was always our intention to move that cabin back. We did not ever intend to build it on that site because it's in a critically important environmental location with a bunch of heritage trees around it, some of which are more than 150 years old. So our intention was to carefully remove the cabin and move it back. We just didn't want to have to move back 100 feet. So that was always our plan. Technically speaking, it was not inhabitable because the roof had a tree branch had caved in a portion of it.
When did the tree fall on it?
I don't know that because it's before I purchased it.
Correct. Okay, because I viewed that property as well before you purchased it.
Okay.
And it was in the same disarray that it is in today.
Yeah, well, it's worse now, but
Correct,
yes.
correct. But it was definitely
Yes.
inhabitable because I viewed it from the lakeside, pulled my boat up, walked up on the property when I saw the for sale sign, and it was definitely in the same situation that it is currently as it was back in 2020-ish when I
Yep.
viewed it. So it definitely had missed its chance back then, even when I viewed it. That time frame of fixing it and keeping it in its same spot
So are
because it
you,
lost its use way back then.
right, but the 1 year time frame for applying for the grandfather, you're saying would never have applied or would have applied only for the year just as it actually played out? I'm just wondering.
That's a question that we can have from Eric. In my eyes, I believe that it never, back in 2020 when I viewed it, it hadn't been occupied in a long time as well. So I would have said, I don't believe it would have been able to be used either, but that's a question that Eric can answer.
Yeah, it wasn't, I had staff that was involved in that no longer is with the office, so I don't know the details of conversations at that time, but the 12-month discontinuation language has been in the statute and the ordinance for quite some time.
Right, but back in 2020, had he purchased it, when he said he purchased it, he didn't have a year from the date he purchased it. It was because it had expired the use.
A year from whenever the structure ceased to be.
Right, yeah, and it hadn't been used in a long time.
Well,
When you
if-
purchased it in 2020, it still
Got it.
hadn't been used.
I see. Well, it's just interesting the way, because I think the way the permit was written for the new conforming structure, it makes significant reference to the existing structure. If that were irrelevant, wouldn't that just not be on there at all? It'd be irrelevant. I think the county would have said, that's irrelevant, so we're not even going to discuss the red cabin.
I'm not sure which permit you're
The permit
referencing.
for the new structure that's currently on the property, which is
Yeah,
a,
I'll look at that. Thanks.
I totally see your point. That's totally legitimate. Again, I only know what my contractor told me, but the fact that it's referenced in the permit is interesting.
I
Yeah, okay.
I just wanted to clarify that I did look at it too.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
that it wasn't in use.
It was a mess.
So it was, a year would not have made a difference when I even looked at it. So that was just my point.
Understood.
Permit calls it out as uninhabitable.
Correct.
Right.
It was. It is.
At this time, I'd like to open for public comment. Seeing no public comment, I'll close public comment.
This is Ken. Why can't the proposed structure be moved back to 100 feet, another 30 feet? I know there's a little bit of a rise back there, but to allow a new structure that immediately is a non-conforming structure is not something we tend to like to approve. Why couldn't it be moved back 30 feet?
Well, there would be a couple things. One is that that rise is actually pretty significant, so it changes the layout of the property and how we'd lay it out. So, and also it's just a happenstance of history that the area where the cabin would go is largely unforested because there used to be a couple, some kind of shacks or barns or something for when it was a resort many decades ago. So if you look at the tree lines and all of the existing large Norway and white pines, it's the most open area possible. The other thing I'd point out is that it's only one small corner of the cabin that's at 70 feet. As you travel the line, because of the curve of the shoreline, most of the structure is well more than 100 feet back, a decent portion of the line. And the reason why that corner exists is because you want to situate it conforming to the shoreline, so that you're facing in the right direction, if you will.
Yeah, when I look at the drawing, that was obvious the way the shoreline varies. Could you move it to the left or to the whatever direction? Come on.
To the south, yeah.
No, it'd be more to the northwest, towards the existing home.
Well, north,
Drawing here.
yeah, gotcha. Northwest would be towards the lake, so you mean probably northeast, I'm guessing.
Away from the lake.
Towards your house, if you slide it over towards your current house.
Yeah, but back also, I think. There's an entire line of, more than 100-year-old white pines, so if we moved that direction, we would kill all those trees. So that would, I personally I just could not do that environmentally. I just think that'd be a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, except that where you're proposing it, there's several really nice old oaks.
Yeah, there are much better oaks it's 9 acres, there are a lot of oak trees, those are nice trees, but they're not we had an arborist actually walk the property, and the trees that I identified around the red cabin on that line that goes along the swamp line to the north are the trees that are thought to be most important to save. But I will also point out, we're planting tons and tons of new trees on the property as well, so we're trying to reforest as best we can, but so that location is the one that we think is best environmentally. We chose it pretty carefully.
Harry, can you put that drawing up? It's in the packet. Yeah, that one there. And can you find the 100-foot setback kind of arc from the lake? Just seems to me, having been there, you could find a way to orient that new home, move it or orient it, and meet the 100-foot setback.
This is Tim. Yeah, when I walked beyond those big Norways, there was enough room to build at the setback, moving the well to the front and the house to the back. There was enough room for a setback.
The big pines are the ones to the left as I look at this drawing. This shows that way is north. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Yeah, well, if you're looking, so it's towards the existing home is right at near that property line where it shows the 50 feet between the property line and the proposed structure. That's where those line of white pines are.
Yeah.
And what the tree experts tell us is that you want about at least 20 feet for their roots. So it'd be really tight. Again, you could go back, but then you're having to raise the entire thing up quite a lot. It's gonna have a much higher profile on the lake, which that's a trade-off. It's, maybe that's the most important thing. And you'd have a whole lot of steps to get down, but again, maybe that's the breaks. It's.
I don't remember when you were out there, the house was exactly laid out, and I don't have a perspective on how far you were from those pines.
We were, the layout of the flags was about as close to those pines as you can get if you're still protecting the root systems. Is that right?
Yeah,
This is Bernie, by the way. I think you all know
The crown
Bernie.
of the tree kind of as the line, and it was about 18 to 20 feet from the Norway pines on the west side, I would call it, so.
We walked it for hours trying to figure out the best place. It's not actually all that easy to figure out environmentally and relative to the slope of the land, and not trying to, take out as few trees as possible and not have to move too much dirt, et cetera, et cetera. It felt like the right place to us.
Eric, with that drawing, what would be the distance from the lake edge to the outline on the drawing of the house on the left side? Can you do that? That's not good, that one there. From that left-hand corner of the dotted line, what's this distance from the lake?
So when,
You follow what I'm saying?
yeah, when Cal was out, he had flagged the 100-foot
It shows
setback along
70 there, but if you move over to the other end of the house,
So that front edge of the deck ended up about 84 feet from where that 100-foot setback flags were that Cal had flagged.
Yeah, I don't have enough information there, Ken, to be able to.
you can't do that on your,
I can't measure on their drawing. I don't know that it's
you
done to
can't.
scale.
it just seems to me if you rotated that a little bit and put it back a little bit, you could meet the 100-foot setback. And your deck is really the major encroaching piece there.
Yeah, this is Veronica speaking. Given the size of the property, there's really no constraints to being able to construct that new construction that doesn't meet all the setbacks.
It's not a question of whether it can be done. I'm not going to dispute that. That's absolutely right. I just think it's a question of the combination of the fact that we likely would have gotten a permit approved at that time if we'd applied for it, and secondly, that relative to the grading and relative to the trees, this is the best location for it. You know, as Ken points out, there are some beautiful trees that nearly all of them will remain after we're done. It's very well kind of almost hidden from the beach. It's in a cove already, so like it'll be barely noticeable when boats go by. Like it's actually just what you want, is far back, not easily, you know, viewed. And this may not make any difference to you. I hope that it does, but like we care intensely about maintaining this property. The entire shoreline that we bought has never been touched, and we will never touch it. There's no grass, there's no sandy beach. It's all wild. And that's the environment that we want for this cabin. And, you know, I hope I'm sending the message that again, this isn't about, I don't want to walk an extra 20 or 30 feet to the beach. It has nothing to do with it. It really is, but I think it's the best situated to do the least environmental harm, and have it, and the least, you know, sort of having to excavate and move dirt around, all that kind of stuff.
This is Veronica speaking. Unfortunately, we have these findings of facts that we have to answer affirmatively, and number 3 is the need for the variance due to circumstances unique to the property and not created by the current or prior owners. There are no restraints to allow you to not build it at the setback requirements. So I can't even answer number 3 affirmatively, because it's only what your desire is, not, there aren't any other restraints. So that's my feelings at this time.
Does the fact that what happened with the contractor, does that have no bearing, or does that have some bearing but not enough bearing? Like, where do you sort of come out on that point? Because we wouldn't be sitting here if we had known what the dynamic was and applied at the time.
Again, because I noticed that cabin at the same time you did, and it was inhabitable then, I don't think it has any bearings. Because it was beyond a year that it was inhabitable at that time.
Is it okay if I ask Eric a question?
You absolutely may.
Thank you. So Eric, if we come in, which we did, my contractor came in and said, we want the grandfather and we're going to apply right now and do it. Is it, I mean, dare I ask the question, is it a yes or no? Like, would that not have been, I just find it interesting that it made the permit, it was discussed there, and then we just assumed that that meant that we were in keeping with the requirements. So if Veronica's right, and it never would have been approved in the first place, well, then it's a different conversation. We have got nothing to talk about. But like, if that would have been approved as a function of the grandfather clause, then then we'd already have it if we'd known that, and we wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I wasn't a part of the conversations that occurred back then, so I don't know if it was made aware to staff that the use of the structure had been discontinued or not, but the requirement in the statute and the ordinance that when a non-conforming structure's use has been discontinued for more than 12 consecutive months, then the non-conforming rights associated with it are considered voluntarily given up. So, you know, not having been party to those talks back then, I can't say what was said and what staff knew or didn't know. But I can tell you the statute requirement has been the same, or was the same then as it is today.
Right. Well, anyway, it's all, you know, I'm really sorry to take up all your time, and it's, you know, it's very disappointing that it's been playing out this way. Obviously, we had an expectation that's not met, and unfortunately, it's, of course, it goes directly to property values, which will be greatly diminished by not having this variance permit approved. People pay for that to have these grandfather clauses in place. Now, we're not intending ever to sell. This is an heirloom property for my kids, but, you know, I don't know. I guess I'd just say, is there, relative to Ken's point, like, is there a compromise to be had if we pushed it back 10 feet and turned it a little bit and tried to get, is there something along those lines? I mean, there's a little bit of room behind, but not much before you're starting to really have to change dramatically in the nature of the structure and the stairs and the excavation and the trees.
There's no basement, this is all on flat grade?
There's no intention for a basement currently.
Yeah. I think 20 feet, you could get much closer than 20 feet if you weren't digging down towards the root system. I have a home, I have seven pines the size of those ones you got within 10 feet of my house, and they all survive really well, okay?
Yeah, I'm just going by what arborists have told me, but I appreciate that.
I just think if you could move it to the left and rotate it, you could, without a lot of difficulty, could meet your 100-foot setback. And to Veronica's point, it's hard for us to answer positively our item number 3, so.
Yeah, and this is Veronica, and it's unfortunate, I mean, that you can't, again, even back then for that existing cabin, I mean, I guess if you wanted to go pull records and see if there was electricity, so on and so forth, but you do have options that you can build and meet the setback and build the proposed structure that you'd like, and you can build it by permit and meet the setbacks. That's our biggest thing here, is that there's room on this property to place a structure in conformance with the ordinance, so.
Yeah, I know when I've lost, so.
Yeah. This is
by all
Veronica. I
means,
make
call
a
vote.
motion to deny the application and adopt the staff's findings of facts.
This is Tim, I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to deny this application. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy, I vote aye.
Ken?
This is Ken, I vote aye.
Mike?
Mike, I vote aye.
And Veronica?
Veronica, I vote aye.
This is Larry, I vote nay. To give you a little, thank you very much.
Thanks, Larry.
Yep. All right. Variance application 56V25 by Gary Page, part of Government Lot 3, Section 29, Township 142, Range 34, Clay Township on Skunk Lake, a natural environment lake, parcel 0429000300. Applicant is requesting an after-the-fact variance from Section 902.1 of the Shoreline Management Ordinance for grading in excess of permittable volume in a steep slope. Name and address for the record, please.
Gary Page from 7006 68th Avenue South in Horace, North Dakota.
And a brief description of your variance request, please.
We are trying to get a variance to build our retirement home in a not the easiest place to build.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
This is Mike. Gary, when did you start digging? What date was that?
Guy, end of July, probably. I'm not
End of July?
somewhere around there. It was later in the year. I can't imagine. I'd have to look back at my pictures. I'm not sure.
When did you turn in a think you asked for a permit and it was denied. When did you do that? When was that done?
I just turned in the permits within the last month.
Just on it says the applicant submitted a land use permit. The staff denied it because of incompleteness. Why was it incomplete?
I don't know. I guess I'm not sure on that.
That was August 27th.
That it, okay.
And he just recently
Okay.
withdrew it.
I'm not entirely sure.
This is Larry. So in that land use application that was returned for not being complete,
Geez, I didn't even.
did you
see
receive that? Did you, I'm trying to understand how you knew you needed to apply for a permit, but then ignored it when it was not complete.
I think the work was done before I applied. I think is my mistake. I don't think it was done after it was not approved. You know what I mean?
So you had moved that dirt before you did this application in August?
I believe so. I believe so. I have dated pictures somewhere I could find out.
At this time, I'm going to open for public comment. Yes, please. And please write your name and address on the ledger. And state your name, please, for the record.
Hi, my name's Marty Wolf. I submitted a letter, and so I'm laid out my major concerns. They're surrounding the potential for erosion, access on Jasmine Drive. As you probably saw, it's a dead end. And if something happens to Jasmine Drive, at that point, my family, including my elderly parents, sorry, Mom, we have concerns about ambulance access, what to do in emergency if something happens to that road. So I think right now we're in a bad state. And I'm also concerned about the water quality in Skunk Lake. Those things are laid out there. I don't have an opinion really whether you grant him a variance. What I want you to do tonight is encourage you that you get the conditions right so that we don't face the prospect of Jasmine Drive, being either eroded away or covered with silt, and we don't destroy the natural quality of Skunk Lake. The thing that I want you to consider is to really think broadly about what's the best solution here. And one of the things that you might consider is, can Jasmine Drive be moved? It's not in a good spot where it is, being so close to the lake. Are there civil engineers who have the expertise in rebuilding the damaged area where so much sandy material has been excavated? I ask you, take your time with this one, get it right. The decision I think you're going to make is going to outlast every one of us in this room, and so that's my major concern is that this be done in the right way for the lake and for the people who live along the lake. Thanks.
Very good, thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will close public comment.
This is Mike again. You put that silt fence in on Friday after we left?
I did, yeah.
Or on Friday? Or
The same day, yeah.
Did you trench it in and?
I did trench it in, but I mean, I'll have to come back and do it better, but I did shovel dirt all along the bottom from taking out, but I will have to do a better job on it, yes. I just wanted to get it up there after having the discussion with you, actually, so. And then I couldn't get any wattles, I think we call them, in town here, so I have to get them from, and bring them back, so. And I was gonna put wattles up on the road, the access road to the property. But another way you can do it is discharge the water out towards that transformer in that area before it gets to the Jasmine Drive. So you can reroute the water before it gets there.
Because if there would be a large amount of rain right now, it would go right down your new driveway and.
Yeah, and we have had some larger rain, and they're right, the plan is to put geofabric in that area with class 5 to prevent erosion.
Right, to stabilize it, but not now, I mean.
Well, I was waiting to see what it could do, you know what I mean? Otherwise, I'd already have it in there. So we were gonna put tensar fabric and either crushed rock with a fractured face or a class 5.
This is Ken. Why did you select that extensive road up and around, and of course the one up the hill? Because when we walked in, there was already kind of a path that angled up to where the building site is. Why would you not have picked that as your road, which is a lot less, probably not any digging out at all? And then of course, you would have had to get permits to move the material for where your house is. You've got the garage on the back side, and I don't know what all the details of the inside, but if you'd flip that around and your garage would be right where where you're planning a house, but on the left as you come up that little road,
Right.
you wouldn't have had to do any of that grading. Why did, I'm just, it amazes me the extensive tearing up that was done, that to me, as I look at it, was absolutely unnecessary.
I have a friend of mine who is a civil engineer, and I asked him to look at the property and figure out how we could make it work with the hills that were there. That drawing was from a friend of mine who did the civil drawings, and we cut back what was recommended on the drawing, believe it or not, and I had asked him to make it work in that environment. He was worried about the slope of the hill and worried about the 150-foot offset, and that's what he came back with. So it was a recommended design from a civil engineer.
Well, that path as I walked up seemed to be almost flat. I mean, it went uphill, but almost flat. There wasn't a steep hill or anything like that. It just amazes me that somehow or another you didn't think about that or come in for a permit or discussion, because what you've done, it just, to me, is a nightmare in the future from water runoff to the lake.
Well,
And short of major berms, clearly without a water management plan, I'm not very supportive of what was done.
I understand.
This is Veronica speaking. I just have a question. So all of the excavation that was done on the property, none of it got removed from the property? It all got pushed up to the top?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric, during our lot views, was there anything else with the excavation portion of it? Were there any other violations at that time that you noticed where he filled in at the top? Was anything like that to be concerned as well?
Well, I haven't had, it'd be difficult for staff to go out there now to do what we typically would, which would be to find the percent slope of the area where the fill is placed, because now that all the fill is there, we can't determine what the original slope was. But when I did some measurements using the LiDAR elevation contours, that area did appear to meet steep slope criteria, or at least a portion of it, so we haven't been able to follow up with further field work since seeing that on the lot view last Thursday, but it would appear that the area and the overall quantity of material that the board is considering not to include that area where the fill was placed.
Yeah, that fill did come from Bull, so. And all of the material that was moved was kept on site, so.
This is Tim speaking. It's clear, you can see the horizons clearly in the dirt. That top 3-4 feet is clay loam. That's what held that hill.
Right.
That's what held it in place.
Right.
And now it's gone. I don't trust anything being put back in there to hold what's below it. I can see it being undermined and washed out like an hourglass myself. That's the way I feel about it. I think the road should be plugged up with clay and back to the drawing board somehow. Do something.
I agree.
This is Larry. As we've been here, we've discussed a couple other properties and projects that just didn't fit on the lot. I think this one definitely comes under that category, that for the extensive excavation that you've had to do to try to fit this house in there, I just can't support it. The fact that you went ahead without getting any kind of clearance to do it and stuff. I can't do this one.
What is the road forward for me then, for our family? And is that determined tonight or not? I don't know. I guess I
That's
don't know.
not really for us to decide.
I just don't know. I mean, you go to environmental services and talk to them, or?
Yeah, try to work something out there.
Good.
And yeah, I'm not sure where this goes from here, but I would entertain a motion at this point.
This is Tim. I'll make a motion to deny application 56-V-25 is the variance in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the official controls? No. Removing steep hill is not in harmony with the official controls. Is the property owner proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted? No, it's not being in a reasonable manner when you cut out a big trough from a sandy place that's gonna erode down a hill into a access road. Is the need for a variance due to circumstances unique to the property and not created? No, it was created by the property owner. Will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? No, the whole entire topography was removed on this property. And I'll take staff's findings of 5.
This is Larry. I'll second that motion. So we have a motion and a second to deny this variance. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy. I vote aye.
Ken?
This is Ken. I vote aye for denial.
Mike?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica?
This is Veronica, I vote aye.
And this is Larry. I also vote aye.
Thanks again.
Yep, thank you. Technically, no, sorry.
I'm really nervous about what's gonna happen come springtime if it doesn't get packed in clay, so where do I go? Okay, thank you.
All right, variance application 57V25 by MJK Living Trust. Lots 15 and 16, Block 1, Sunny Point Addition, Section 21, Township 139, Range 33, Crow Wing Township on Second Crow Wing Lake, a recreational development lake, parcel 063701-300. Applicant is requesting a variance to amend a condition placed on variance 39 V04 and allow a proposed addition to a dwelling. Name and address for the record, please.
Matthew Coonard, 12443 Beach Drive, Nevis, Minnesota.
Very good. And a brief description of your variance applied for, please.
This is to expand the existing garage, 18 by 21 feet. It does meet the setbacks with the exception that was noted is the shoreland thing, or the shoreland district. But that was really puzzling. I couldn't figure out how that could be, but we did find a flag. And it looks like that's probably something that just occurred maybe this summer. And so much so that I think when the vegetation grows back up in there, it'll probably go back to the original. It's basically just like a little slit of a triangle going into the shore. So, yeah, you guys took a look at the existing garage, and it really is problematic for storing the things that you would see at a cabin. And so that's what this is about. The contractor that I was talking to basically said, with changing some of the windows and some of the other things that I'm gonna do, and the fact that the roof and the siding is 25 years old and brittle now, that I'm very likely gonna end up having to re-side and re-shingle the house. And if I ever wanted more storage, this would be the time to do it instead of tearing it up later on again. So
Correct.
I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Eric, can you go back to that picture that showed the lot line running through the house?
Oh, that's
Can somebody explain that one to me?
I can explain it if you'd like.
Okay.
The GIS system for this part of the county is not accurate.
Okay. All right, very good. And I'm aware of that to a point. My own property is in question.
Sometimes there's two versions, the version that the public gets on this, but I did check with the GIS department, they said, yes, there's no, it's not, they know it's not accurate, and wasn't able to tell me if there was any time they thought it would be accurate.
Very good.
This is Ken. Two thoughts or issues come to my mind. One is you want to do a little bump out beyond the side of the garage. Concern is that you absolutely make sure that you're 10 feet from that property line on that side.
I lasered it.
And you think with the, I don't know how much farther it sticks out, 2 feet? What's the, if I look into your garage and you're gonna build in the back side of it.
Yep.
All the way out to the front of the house or lake side of the house.
Yep.
And then you're building out a little bit, you're not sticking with the full side on the left.
Right.
How much is that sticking out?
3 feet.
3 feet. And you're absolutely sure that you're still 10 feet from the property line?
We lasered it, so.
I don't know what laser means.
Oh, find the markers, put a laser beam between the two.
Yeah.
Go out and measure the closest spot you can measure.
So you're absolutely certain that the front corner of it will not be less than 10 feet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so you've done.
I don't know what absolutely certain.
You are absolutely certain you know where the property line is, and you have technically checked out that if you add 3 feet, you will not, it says
I would say diligently, based on the criteria of how the county handles that, yes.
Okay, now, including the eave, not just the wall.
Structure, yes.
Okay. 10 feet, 11 inches.
Yes. Kedring.
Okay.
Yeah,
no,
where is that line actually? But
Yeah,
with a tape measure, what is the closest we could find?
So. Okay, it's not in our business to authorize something that is
Well, it's-
non-conforming.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys see a lot of things, and I mean, I'm not,
Okay.
I like all the neighbors out there. I'm not sure where everybody's got their stuff stacked, but that is the
This
property.
is garage space. There's no intent to build living.
No.
Or expanding your house into that area at all.
No, it's just garage.
Okay.
So I can keep a fishing boat trailer and in the winter a fishing boat and during this, not have stuff piled out in the yard.
And you will have a man door on the lake side?
Yes.
Okay. Just a regular, normal door or
Yeah, like a
wide enough to drive something in?
No, it won't be wide enough to drive something in.
Like your tractor or anything, like your quad or anything like
No,
that?
no.
Just walk-in access?
Yep, walk-in access.
Okay.
And the lady thought I should put a table to clean fish there too. I don't know why she listed that on there.
And this is Veronica speaking. Basically, that 3 feet that you're going over is right where your door is going to be.
Yes, yeah.
Correct. Okay, and during the lot view, I did also visit with you about that 10-foot side lot line setback. I specifically asked you if that 10-foot setback was from the structure or from the eave, and you told me it was from the eave, and we looked at the line. And so, yeah, so we did address that. Can I also address that at lot views, making sure he understood that it wasn't the structure, that it was the eave that met that 10-foot, and it was a yes, so. I didn't remember seeing the well out there during the lot view, though. So are you still gonna be at least 3 feet from the well with
Oh,
this
yeah.
proposed garage? Because I just saw it in the photo here, and I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. So I couldn't tell what that distance
Oh,
is.
yeah, those red lines are,
Skewed toward- yeah, right.
Yeah, we're away from it.
Okay.
Why don't you just keep it right flush like you want to do in the front? Why don't you just keep it just flush with the garage the way it is? What is that 2 feet by you?
It's not a large area. Every foot matters for storage. I thought about that question was gonna come up, and if I was building a 30 by 40 foot steel shed, yeah, a couple feet won't matter a whole lot, but that is not a large area. So every square foot matters as far as storage goes. I don't wanna end up with, I mean, you couldn't, I don't think you could have, 2 trailers, I don't think I could have a boat and a car packed in. I'm probably at 21 feet like I'm talking about, but at 18 feet, you're starting to get pretty tight on.
9, yeah. Okay.
I sort of figured that with that bump out, a boat which is, like my boat is an 18-foot boat, the trailer is about 21. It's still too long to jockey it sideways, but you can bring it in and jog the back of the trailer over towards that and still be able to get a car in the front.
Okay.
I don't know if everybody looked in the garage, but it was a weird,
Yes, you have that bump out
Yeah.
from the house into the garage,
Yeah.
which makes it, yeah, I understand that. Okay, I'm done. You want a motion?
Not yet. There's some quick questions we have regarding the eaves on this proposed addition. So you have a 2-foot eaves on one of the site plans. I think if you go to a different plan, Eric, maybe to the next page.
There
Yeah,
are
right there.
there are 2 different size eaves on this house.
Right, so like in this picture here, you have a 2-foot eave on this existing garage. And then you have a 2-foot eave on the proposed. So they're not gonna come together, they're gonna.
No.
So you're not gonna have like 4 feet and 2 feet. I mean, you're not adding it, it's not gonna be the same.
The eaves or the gutters will not be on the same plane.
Okay,
Is that what you?
Exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
everything takes a jog.
Okay,
Very good.
that's what we were questioning. Okay.
So, this is Larry. I guess I would question then the water mitigation in that corner where you've got the bump out. There's a lot of water coming down that hillside there. Are you going to put a drain in there or something to?
Which corner are you talking about? Are you talking about where the bump out is?
Correct, where that 3 feet additional bump out is there.
It should be okay according to the, I mean, there will be a little bit of grade in there to make sure that it's not like hitting the corner and then going around.
Okay.
But it should not be an issue, and I'm also putting gutters on the entire house, so.
Very good. Did I do public comment?
No.
And I would say, while it looked like I came in this meeting just in time, I have been listening to it all the way, since 6 o'clock. Whoever's in charge of the live stream.
There you go.
It worked perfectly.
Good.
Good. All right, I'll open for public comment at this time. Seeing no public comment, I'll close public comment. Any other questions from the board?
Ready for a motion?
I am ready for motion.
Okay. This is Veronica. I make a motion to approve the application 57-B-25. And I will provide answers for number 1 on the findings of facts, and then I will adopt staff's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Number 1 is the variance in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the official controls. Yes, the proposed garage expansion will not extend any closer to the lake than the existing structure. And then I'll adopt 2, 3, 4, and 5.
This is Tim, I'll second that motion.
Very good. We have a motion and a second to accept the variance. Tim, how do you vote?
This is Timothy, I vote aye.
Ken?
This is kind of vote aye.
Michael?
Mike, I vote aye.
Veronica?
I vote aye.
And this is Larry. I also vote aye. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Yep. I hope this is the last variance for this summer.
You gotta come back next month with another one.
There really is nothing left to do. All right, thank you. Have a
Yes,
good night.
thank you.
Everybody with a wife knows there'll be more. Okay.
All right, any communications, Eric?
Just that November's agenda is probably going to be about half of what tonight's was.
Wonderful.
4 or 5 applications based on what came in today.
Any real serious ones, significant ones, or more run-of-the-mill?
Not that I can think of.
As I talked to you earlier, I'll let you know whether I'm gonna be able to make it or not. Depends upon airplane flights.
All right.
Okay.
Do we do a motion? I don't remember. Do we do a motion to adjourn? Okay.
This is Veronica. I make a motion to adjourn.
This is Tim, I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn on, Tim, how do you vote?
All in favor, say aye.
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 This is Ken, aye.
Veronica, I say aye.
Okay, Larry, I'll also say aye. I'm sorry.
Good job, Larry.
That's how we end our town.